Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Gloria, also known as the Sourdough Sorceress, and this is Sourdough Sorcery, where we talk about the stories, the science, and the simple magic behind real sourdough. And today we're going to talk about something that causes an enormous amount of frustration for people learning sourdough. I hear this all the time. Someone will say, I followed the recipe exactly, and my bread still didn't turn out. Then they start listing all the problems. The bread was dense, the crumb was gummy, the loaf spread out flat, or they got one giant hole in the middle and the rest of the crumb was tight. And usually, when people are struggling like this, they assume the problem must be something like maybe it's the flour, maybe their starter isn't strong enough, maybe they're shaping it wrong, maybe the recipe just isn't good. But the truth is, most of the time, the problem is something much simpler. It's the schedule. Their baking schedules does not match their fermentation. And once you understand that, sourdough starts to make a lot more sense. Sourdough is not a fixed recipe. One of the biggest misconceptions in sourdough baking is that it behaves like a normal recipe. Most recipes give instructions like bulk ferment for 4 hours, proof overnight, feed your starter, and use it when it doubles. But sourdough isn't really a fixed recipe. It's a living fermentation process. And fermentation is affected by a lot of different things: your kitchen temperature, your starter strength, the type of flour you're using, the hydration of the dough, even the season of the year, which means two people can follow the exact same recipe and get completely different results. Someone in a warm kitchen in Florida might have dough that ferments very quickly. Meanwhile, someone in a cool kitchen in the winter, maybe in Minnesota, might have dough that ferments very slowly. And yet, the recipe might say the exact same thing for both of them. So, if you're strictly following the clock instead of watching the fermentation, it's very easy for your dough to become under-fermented or over-fermented. And that's where a lot of sourdough problems start. So, the first thing you need to know is your starter's peak. If we want sourdough to become easier and more predictable, the first thing we need to understand is our starters. Most people feed their starter and then kind of guess when it's ready, but a sourdough starter actually has a very predictable life cycle. After you feed it, it starts to grow, it rises, it doubles. Eventually, it reaches its peak, and then it begins to fall again as the yeast runs out of food. The best time to bake with your starter is when it's at or very near its peak. And that's when the yeast activity is strongest. If you use your starter too early, it hasn't developed enough strength yet. If you use it too late, the yeast activity is already declining. And that can affect how well your dough ferments. One of the simplest things you can do if you're not sure about your starter timing is run a little experiment. Feed your starter and then watch it for a day. Put a rubber band around the jar at the starting level, then check it every hour or so. You'll start to see its rhythm. You'll see how long it takes to rise, when it reaches its peak, and when it begins to fall. And once you know that timing in your kitchen, it becomes much easier to plan your baking. Second thing you need to understand is bulk fermentation. So this piece of the puzzle, bulk fermentation, is where many bread problems happen. Bulk fermentation is the stage where the dough is developing structure and gas. If the dough is under-fermented, you might see things like a dense crumb, gummy texture, bread that didn't rise well. If the dough is over-fermented, you might see very sticky dough, dough that spreads out flat, weak structure that collapses during baking. A lot of recipes will say something like bulk ferment for 4 hours. But again, fermentation depends on your environment. In a, in a warm kitchen, 4 hours might be too long. In a cool kitchen, 4 hours might not be nearly enough. So instead of watching the clock, it helps to learn the signs of properly fermented dough and understand your environment. You might see the dough rise about 50 to 75%. You'll often see small bubbles forming on the surface. The dough will feel lighter and more airy. Sometimes it will have a little jiggle when you gently move the bowl. And if you touch it on the top, it will spring back, kind of like when you're testing a cake when you've been baking. Those are the signs that fermentation has progressed enough to move to the next step. So now let's talk about building your baking schedule backwards. Once you understand your starter's timing and your dough's fermentation window, something interesting happens. Sourdough becomes much more predictable. Instead of trying to force your baking into someone else's timetable, you can create a schedule that works for your life. For example, if you want fresh bread tomorrow morning, you might feed your starter in the morning today. When it reaches its peak, you mix your dough, you let it bulk ferment during the afternoon, you shape it in the evening, then you let it cold ferment overnight in the refrigerator, and the next morning you bake. Or if you want bread for dinner, you might adjust that schedule earlier in the day. Once you know your fermentation timing, you can move things around much more confidently. If your sourdough hasn't been turning out the way you hoped, it doesn't necessarily mean you're doing something wrong. Very often, it just means you haven't been shown how to understand the timing of fermentation. Once you learn your starter's rhythm and your dough's fermentation window, sourdough stops feeling mysterious and it starts feeling much simpler. And honestly, that's when it becomes the most fun because instead of fighting the process, you're working with it. Thanks for spending a little time with me today. If you'd like more sourdough tips, recipes, and baking ideas, you can always find those at sourdoughsorcery.com. And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow the podcast so you don't miss any future episodes, or follow me on YouTube, wherever you're watching or listening to this, because we're going to keep talking about the science, the stories, and the simple magic behind real sourdough. Until next time, happy baking.